Hello folks, Budbrid.com here, Arne Pilze, and today I'd like to talk to you about the new set and the spoilers and the cards we know right now. So as you see on the screen, you see a lot of cool stuff going on. I've been sort of overlooking a lot of cards in the previous set, so let's just say sometimes such huge packages like Eldrazi can't be overlooked in terms of its impacts on standard and other formats as well. This time around I'll be more careful and try not to underestimate a lot of the cards. Basically, in addition to this video review, I would also provide something in the text form, in the form of an article after this one. So basically what you haven't heard here in this review, you would be able to read about in the article coming up within the next few days. Hopefully by then more cards will be spoiled, so I will have better perspective, more complete puzzle about how the metagame will shape up after this new set. Basically, I'm very excited about the Planeswalkers, all three of them. Arling in particular is super busted, so I think she will be one of the better ones. 4 mana, it basically pumps up and gives haste to one of your creatures, so it's a really great tempo card. Comparable to Xenagos, it will be, I think, insane in standard for sure, and I think it might get all the way to modern because it's very comparable to the Innistrad Garruk and Handmaster of the Fells in terms of power level and impact on the board. I also like that it basically defends itself, so similar to the Garruk Relentless, you can always just keep on making the 2/2 wolf tokens all the time. Well, not all the time, okay, like after the first one she's gonna transform, and then the flip side is really powerful as well, because then you can just minus her to start lightning bolting all of the opposing threats or go to face, etc. All around a very cool card. The ultimate on the flip side is just bananas. I think it's way better than the ultimate on the Cough of the Hammer. It makes up for way less restrictions to get value out of it, unlike on the Cough. And basically the Planeswalker itself produces some creatures, and together with just a few support creatures, the ultimate just becomes absurd, and you get a lot of reach and a lot of burst power just to finish your opponent off. Nahiri is also pretty sick. All of the abilities are quite good. I think in terms of power level, this one is comparable to the 5 mana Gideon, so you can always just play her and kill a tapped creature or an enchantment or an artifact, which is pretty cool. Of course, tapped artifact means that it will be pretty hard to nuke artifacts unless it's some creatures from Affinity. Perhaps some Jeskai decks in standard and even in modern would like to playtest her, because she helps you to filter your draws with the plus ability, then helps you to control the board with the minus ability. The ultimate is also very powerful. It could allow you to actually fetch up for combo pieces like Restoration Angel, Kiki Chiki, but I'm not so sure that this will be the direction for the ultimate. Even in a control deck with a lot of removal and permission, you could probably find some very sweet targets for her to search up for with the ultimate. Chase is just fear. It's okay, it's not broken, it's not absurd. It can do a lot of things, but nothing what he does is straight up ridiculous. The plus ability is great, but then this is a 5 mana Planeswalker. It can defend itself with the Mind's ability to bounce one of the guys just to keep Jace alive, but the ultimate is actually not that insane like on some other Jaces. The one that prohibited playing all non-creatures period was a significantly better ultimate. This one is annoying for your opponent, but not straight up ridiculous like with the other Jaces. Musigarde is pretty good even without a lot of the synergies for humans and soldiers and so on. It's actually not that relevant. She's already like very powerful creature, and then keep in mind that she produces human tokens, so her first ability basically feeds itself, etc. Then 4/5 flying for 5 mana is already a pretty good deal. It's sad that she's legendary, but oh well, we can manage that. And then she exiles any card, although only from your graveyard, which means that she's not gonna be a great graveyard hoser. She's gonna help in any potential battles around Timagos, because her first ability is actually powerful for Modern, I think. Okay, they can kill her, but then it's a very great creature to play against Burn in Modern, for example, because then they have to deal with her or spend 2 bolts on her in order to actually be able to burn face. One of the most important parts of this creature is probably that she fizzles all the benefits and bonuses from the cards from this set, which require you to have 4 different card types in your graveyard. Although, wait a second. No, she actually doesn't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Sorry, it actually doesn't matter. So she cannot really spoil the whole picture for your opponent. So she cannot actually fizzle that. I'm glad I checked this out, because it always says your graveyard. Still, she's very comparable, I think, to the Ant Queen in terms of how great she would be for standard, but I suppose not that much for Modern, but I won't be too surprised. Then New Olivia is just bonkers, I think. We don't have Lightning Bells, we have Fury Temper, but come on, flying for 3 mana free with such a crazy ability. You may discard, you don't have to, and then it's not like she triggers when you discard the card, she just enables herself. It's just ridiculous, I think. And then you don't have to sacrifice that creature at the end of turn, which is insane, so it's just a crazy ability. I've been playing with Giant Aggro or Giant Elves, whatever you want to call it, in Standard for this whole last Standard season, and now I just found one more creature worth splashing red for, and maybe even shifting away from the Elves package towards this more value oriented tempo package of just good cheap creatures like this one, and then Drana, and etc. Avacyn is obviously great. Don't think she would be necessarily modern material, unlike Zygarde, for example, but it will be very hard to play around her in standard. I think it's just a straight up a standard staple, and could be one of the defining cards in standard because of how dangerous it could be not to play around her. Other standouts, first of all, like Descend Upon the Sinful. I think it's a fine card, maybe a bit too much for a mythic. I mean, it probably should be a rare. Okay, Mass Removal for 6 mana is a high mark, but I think the Exile clause and the fact that you most likely gonna get a 4/4 flying token as a bonus is probably enough upsides to pay 6 mana for a Mass Removal spell. I think this card will be played because there will be lots of graveyards, synergies, and shenanigans in this set, so exiling is probably gonna be a big part. To the Slaughter, okay, instant for 3 mana. It's an addict effect, but it also works for Planeswalkers, and most likely most of the time they would just have one in play, so it basically 3 mana kill a Planeswalker or addict, which is insane. And then if you have a bunch of different card types in your graveyard, you get another bonus, which is they have to sacrifice a creature and a Planeswalker. Very good card, very solid removal, very nice for standard, and with such powerful Planeswalkers coming for standard from this set, I think to have this kind of cards is necessary. We would still have the path, the Raynos path or whatever from Zendikar, I think, the one that kills a creature or a Planeswalker. It's a sorcery though, but it has Awaken, so it has this long-term benefits if you have a lot of mana, so you get an extra value. But I don't mind having both such cards, in addition to another card which I think is already spoiled, well, definitely spoiled, and probably on this set as well. I'm talking about Anguished Unmaking. Awesome card, awesome art, awesome storyline, great flavor text, just great. It's gonna be multi-format staple, just so get hands on these as soon as you can if you think the price is reasonable. If it's seems unreasonable right now, I think you should probably still get it, because this is one of the cards that will likely go up, because I think it will be played in every format. It's basically a instant Maelstrom Pulse. Okay, you lose 3 life, but that's fine. It can be countered, it can't hit lands, but one of the big parts is that it exiles, so I think the card is well balanced, though still very powerful, and it will be played everywhere, so get yours whenever possible. Okay, I'm actually particularly curious about what this does. So, okay, okay, so never mind the comments there. So you get a land that produces colorless for 5 tap 1 life. You put a 1/1 token into play. For 5 tap sacrifice 5 creatures. You get to transform this land into a creature, and then it's a flying lifelink indestructible haste. Holy cow. Holy cow. I'm actually thinking of building as a side project some funky black-white token life gain reanimation kind of deck with Zula ports and healers and lots of life gain and removal and other things. So I really want this land. This just looks amazing. Okay, sacrifice 5 creatures is a lot to ask, but between Origins lands that produce top tiers or Zendikar lands that produce Scions, and then retreats that produce tokens, and some other token makers. Damn. Okay, we lose the security wastes after rotation, but this card is awesome. It's a land. It comes into play untapped. It produces mana, and it can also generate tokens. So I think it's a ridiculous card for control decks that can produce tokens from permanents and lands and so on. I think it's great. I like this one a lot. Okay, back to other staples. People like this Relentless Dead zombie quite a bit. It was one of the early spoils. Basically, you have a 2/2 for 2 with evasion essentially because of menace, and then you get to put it back into your hands for 1 mana when it dies, which is great, and then you can pay X when another zombie goes from the graveyard to the battlefield. Is that right? No, you can return, right. So you can pay X for another target zombie card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay, so when this guy dies, yeah, it's crazy. Though so far we haven't seen that many zombies like to synergize with it, but I'm sure we would see more. This card's probably already up in price for quite a bit. So yeah, I like it. It's just insane. Although it's a mythic. So watch out for this for sure. I don't like the demon as much. On the other hand, it's 4 mana flying, trample 4/5, and it helps you to mill. Even if you don't get the delirium straight ahead, okay, you're actually probably fine losing 4 life at least once. Okay. Probably bananas. Could be a pretty sick enabler. Oh, especially for that zombie deck. Right. So expect both of these come in a package. Gerald's Masterpiece is a crazy card, I think. You put it from your graveyard to the battlefield. It doesn't matter that it's tapped. Basically, if you have enough of like enablers to discard a bunch of cards, and I probably think you would be because there's so many good enablers, it's a giant flying body for cheap, and it keeps on coming back. I think it will be just absurd. Okay, discarding 3 cards is a lot to ask, but it just fits itself in a way that everything just makes sense and synergizes so well. Okay, let's switch up for other staples that I really liked a lot. Well, Declaration Stone is probably gonna be played a lot, so would be Thing and Ice, which is really hyped right now. Its price can really up a lot, and I think it's worth that price. I think it's a ridiculous card, and I think it will be making its main impact not in not in standard, but in modern most likely. With a bunch of cheap spells like gutshots and attacks and probes, you flip this very quickly, and then not only it's a 7/8, it just bounces all non-horror creatures, which is just absurd. I think this card is just too good, maybe. It blocks well, it costs only 2 mana. It's just insane. I think in standard it will also be quite playable, but not as fast as in modern for obvious reasons. I like the bishop, this kind of fixed mantra of the Mick. It's only when you cast, which is probably worse than when they land, because this way you don't get a bunch of cards from token makers and stuff like that. On the other hand, if the spell that's gonna create some creatures or just be a cheap creature will be countered, you would still get to draw a card basically off of it. And it also has evasion and 2/3s. Big difference compared to 2/2. Blocks better, has evasion. I suppose Prince and the Mentor of the Mick maybe will be a bit too much. On the other hand, you don't have to pay mana to draw cards, so in a way this is probably better. Really like the use, this red creature on the right. Basically essentially a reprint for Arrogant Worm, or I should say Reckless Worm. Pretty nice. Not super hyped on this Big Delver. It's okay, but nothing like that absurd, although let's just say this could be a potential sleeper. It doesn't look that ridiculous just yet, but in practice it may be like really good. 4 mana is a lot, so this is probably not modern material by any means, but in standard this could actually be pretty good, and one of the cards that you can definitely not be super embarrassed in a newly built like budget standard deck to enter the format. And I think this set might actually bring new players. Then Eerie Interlude. I like this. Well, yeah, you're blinking your whole team, but in the combination with that bishop and some other stuff, this could be crazy. You have a lot of comes into play triggers from creatures from Zendikar blocks, so I think this opens up a potential for some really busted decks. Also, we still have Galactic Company in the combination with that. It could be crazy. Let's say a couple copies of this, and then take your creature-based Galactic Company deck in standard, and then you can get more value out of your Reflector Mages and so on, and probably get more cards with the Bishop and so on. So I think this is what it comes down to. I really like the concoction, at least in limited and potentially in standard as well. You basically get a sorcery speed removal for 2 black, which is okay. You pay 1 life in addition, but it helps you with self-milling because it's an enchantment, a cheap one. It could get some extra synergies. Very nice card for Commander and other Highlander formats, I think, in a dedicated deck because of all the small details about this card. Then I do really like these 2 mana discard enablers. They're good and limited, of course, but also pretty sweet in constructed, I think, in standard, because how they basically empower a lot of viable, inexpensive standard decks. Let's see what here flips into. It's a 3/2 flyer, which is great for 2 mana. moving on. Yeah, we get Lightning Axe back, we get Fairy Temper, awesome cards. Then I do really like these Doppelgeists, these 1 mana spirit. You get to tap a blocker, which is great. Then when you blink it is awesome. And then if you fulfill the requirement of 4 more card types, you get to tap another creature. Oh no, it's you tap a creature at the upkeep. So it's actually a very fine card in the late game as well, because it will be sitting there and tapping a creature every turn. And it's also a flyer, so yeah. I actually won't be surprised if this creature will make it to the green-white hate bears deck in Modern. I'm not sure if it's powerful enough for Death and Taxes kind of deck in Legacy, but in Modern, why not? It's a good 1-drop to get out of from Vile. It gives you a lot of tempo because of fetchlets and some removal spells, and it sets some other things. I think the Delirium will be relatively easy to activate. Really like this, another 1-drop for just 1 mana you get a 1/2 that when enters basically draws you a card. Compare it to Elvish Visionary, it costs 1 mana, it's a 1/2, but okay. Its creature types are not as great as for Visionary, but I think it's still great and a great card to have in Standard, because it could provide so much of like combo synergy potential, etc. We'll also get this 3 mana blink your whole team. There is that, so I won't be surprised if this card will be one of the big parts in some decks. I'm pretty sure there are some other cards I'm overlooking just yet, but I think I'll be reviewing more spoilers once they come in. So right now we have like a third of the set at least, anyways less than half, so I suppose I will be maybe talking about some cards that I didn't discuss here today, and in the next video we get a Deadweight as a reprint, which is great. I think no Sun Titan in Standard, unfortunately, but I still think it's a great card and very useful and very great to have it unlimited. That's for sure. Don't know like whether it will make an impact in Standard, but it's nice to have that one. Warped Landscape. So back a long time ago we had a Frozen Verge as a similar land. It's a common. It's basically like a rampant growth on a land, which is quite okay. The good part about it is that you can get any basic. The bad part about it is that it only gets you 1 land. Unlike Frozen Verse that used to give you 2 lands into play, although of specific type, Forest and the Plains. Okay guys, let's just discuss a couple more. This Rattle Chains 2 mana 2/1 Flying Flash. Okay. Enters, Spirit gets hexproof, yeah, okay. I can cast Spirits as Flash. Okay. So if there is gonna be a decent Spirit tribal deck, it's gonna be probably because of this card. So if there will be enough of spirits in this set, then I suppose you start building your deck with 4 copies of this guy. Is there anything else I'm missing? Oh yeah, this Olivia's Bloodsworn. So it seems like some kind of black red slide deck will be viable. You get Fury Templar, you get Drana, you get Drana from Zendikar, you get Olivia, you get this guy, you get two good 2-drops that can help you to activate Madness and so on. Right, so what do we get? 2-1 flyer for 2, which is good. Okay, it can't block, but you can give it haste, which is probably good. So definitely a fine card for limited, but I think it will see play in constructed. I like it. And it's not an absurd card, but it has potential. Oh my god, we would probably see a return of Vampire Tribal. Dear god. This aristocrat. It just pumps your whole team for the sake of sacrificing like a guy like for 2 mana, and you don't need to tap this guy so it can attack, and it also gets a boost. Dear lord. Yeah, so I would say that Vampire Tribal deck has a chance of becoming once again a viable strategy in Standard. Okay guys, that's it for today, that's it for now. Watch out for more spoilers, reviews in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Goodbye, have fun. Very excited for this set, so very excited to talk more about the spoilers of Shadows of Innistrad in the next video. Goodbye.